Not so long ago, I got my hands on a Galaxy A06, and honestly, for its price, it wasn't bad at all. Although there were some downsides and trade-offs it actually came with, which were subtle. But now, Samsung has dropped the A07. And the big question everyone keeps asking is it actually better or is it just a refresh of the A06? And well, that's why I'm here today. Now, since I've already spent some time with the A06, I kind of know how well and what it brings to the table. But with the A07, well, I'll say it's giving a bit more of a polish this time around. Starting off with the design, the A06 has a glass front with a plastic back and the frame also being made of plastic. But until you hold one in person, you might actually think it is a solid glass at the back with the frame being made of aluminum. At first glance, that's the kind of vibe it's given. It also has this boxy form factor as some other flagship models, and due to that, you can make it stand vertically upright, which to be honest, I'm a big fan of. Now up close, you get a headphone jack, the mic, the charging port plus the speaker all arranged at the bottom of the phone. And then on the left side, you have the SIM and SD card tray right here. Then on the right side, you get the volume controls plus the power button sitting on the key island, with the power button doubling as a fingerprint scanner. Now, the A07 kind of share the same design look as the A06 with some subtle changes and refinements added to it. And the first thing is the camera layout. Now, talking of the camera, I'll get to that in a minute. So what Sammy did on the A07 was to put both camera lenses in one huge module as compared to the A06 where each lens has its own model cutout. And it kind of looked the same as the A17 5G. Don't know if most of you are familiar with that design. Now, I believe they did that so it could give that visual distinction from the A06 and the A06 5G. Aside that, the A06 is slightly thicker at 8mm, with the A07 coming in at 7.6mm, making it a bit lighter than the A06. It also shares the same build material choice, which is plastic at the back and the frame also being made of plastic, with the front being glass. Now, according to Easy Boy, the finish on the back isn't glossy, but a bit of matte finish and it's kind of reflective. So basically, Sammy took the A06 simple design and plastic look and gave it a bit of a glow up. Now, up front, both the A06 and A07 has the same 6.7-inch display size, and they also share the same display type, which is a PLS LCD display with a resolution of 720p. However, the A07 separates itself from the A06 by coming with a 90Hz refresh rate, which is a bit smoother and makes scrolling feel more fluid. The only complaint was that if the resolution was bumped up to 1080p, it would have been much more better since the refresh rate is now 90Hz, and some of the competitors are offering more of that in the same price point, so that would have been much more better. Also, with the display being LCD, that's why you get this big chin at the bottom of the phone because the display connectors actually need some room to fit in. Now, with that, I do understand and I will take it. But, dear Samsung, please do away with the U-notch at the top. It's 2025 and we are 2 months away from 2026. We don't want to see this on the upcoming A08 or A09, whatever the naming scheme is going to be like. Please do away with the U-notch. Thank you. Now, when it comes to the platform, out of the box, the A06 comes with Android 14 with One UI 6 skin on top. And with that, you get up to 2 years of major OS updates, which to be honest, I haven't seen any complaints about that. However, Samsung did something crazier with the A07 that most people didn't see coming. Out of the box, it comes running Android 15 with One UI 7 skin on top. And they promised a whopping 6 years of major OS updates, which is crazy for an entry-level device like this. And that's got most reviewers questioning whether the A07 can even survive such a long period like this. Now, in my impressions video of the A06, I did say the software comes bloated with preloaded apps installed, and that can disrupt your user experience if you are getting an entry-level device like this for the first time. But based on the review of the A07 from Easy Boy, I did notice that he never mentioned anything like that. So I'm guessing that issue might have been addressed. And hey, if you've watched this far, then you probably like this kind of phone comparisons video. So if that's the case, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button because I've got more of these contents coming up and I don't want you to miss that. So yeah, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Back to the video. Also, one major leap the A07 has over the A06 is the processor it's running on. Now, the A06 runs on a Helio G85 processor on a 12nm architect, which is somewhat good at running some heavy demanding games at low settings and multitasking. But with the A07, the processor has bumped to the Helio G99 processor on a 6nm architect, meaning it can handle more workloads than the A06 and perform much better at the things the A06 couldn't handle or finds it difficult, which are heavy demanding games can be played at medium to high settings without performance drop. Also, they both have a dedicated slot for storage expansion, and they also start at a base storage of 64 gigs and a RAM of 4GB. But the A07 goes up to 256 gigs in storage, with the RAM maxing out at 8 gigs, and it is a UFS 2.2 type. Now, coming on to the cameras, besides the change in design they made with the A07, making it look more like the A17 5G, there isn't much difference between the actual lenses itself. They both have a 50 megapixel main lens with a dedicated 2 megapixel depth on both devices. And they both record videos up to 1080p as 30 or 60 frames per second. And the front camera is also 8 megapixel. Now, like I said in my impressions video, taking photos and videos with this device requires a decent amount of light. So, don't go expecting too much from it in low light situations, because it will let you down. Moving on to the battery, the both comes with a huge 5000 mAh of battery capacity, and so with that, on a not so demanding usage, it should probably last you up to a whole day before you plug it in to fill it up. But also, Samsung indicated that the rated 5000 mAh capacity isn't really 5000, but a 4855 mAh capacity, meaning the rated 5000 is an estimated average capacity, which in my opinion isn't bad for an entry-level device like this. I mean, it would have been a problem if this was a flagship device, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Now, for the price, the A07 definitely cost a bit more than the A06. The unit in my impressions video was a 6 gigs RAM and 128 gigs of storage, and that cost about 1,500 Ghana cedis. But the 64 gigs of storage with 4 gigs of RAM cost about 1,200 Ghana cedis. And the A07, which has 64 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM, cost about 1,300 Ghana cedis. But 128 gigs plus 6 gigs of RAM goes all the way up to 1,700 Ghana cedis. However, during my research, I didn't come across the 8 gigs RAM variant, so I'm guessing it's not available in every region to purchase it. But if you're already planning on upgrading or planning to purchase one, then you are mainly paying for the smoother screen and the improved processor, which is the Helio G99. But if your budget is tight, the A06 still makes sense, just that the A07 feels more like the version Samsung should have released first and called that the A06. So yeah, the A07 has a bigger leap over the A06 in terms of performance and a bumped up refresh rate, plus the subtle changes they made with the design, which is nice. But if you're already having the A06, you are fine. Unless you are buying it fresh, then I'll say you should go for the A07, because that feels just more complete over the A06.